Project 6114 is the brainchild of Iligan Medical Center College, an academic institution in Iligan actively involved in the relief operations in the aftermath of Typhoon Sendong.
The morning after the storm devastated the city, the school was able to shelter its neighboring area, Purok Santo Niño, and there are a lot of survivors and in fact flood victims in that area. And IMCC immediately accommodated these residents from this Purok to its facility, the quadrangle and the sheltered facility of the school. And the school did not hesitate to provide food for these people. Likewise, some clothes also. A lot of these people lost their homes and they were greatly affected. The most difficult part was for the school to see the other areas that were badly affected. In fact, a lot of lives were lost in the barangays, in barangays Hinaplanon, particularly the Bayog Island and the Barangay Mantulog, in the areas of Lambagohon, Hinaplanon, Wago, and even Rogongon. Days after the typhoon Sendong, IMCC immediately planned on its relief efforts. We continued on providing food for these areas, the one that I've mentioned. We cook food and also get clothes, provide clothes for these. A lot of the people from these barangays have lost their homes and even some of the lives of the families and the victims. So we provided food, clothing, psychosocial intervention, especially for the children. And some children they were orphaned or lost their parents, so it's hard for them to, they do not know how to move forward, how their future would be. So IMCC was able to come up with intervention programs for these children. IMCC was also able to make an assessment of the conditions of the city, especially those that were badly affected. We were able to come up with a survey, and not just the aerial survey, also the interviews with some of the survivors and how they would go about pursuing their lives in the coming years. We also came up with programs that would help our own employees, the IMCC employees that were also affected. We gave them assistance, in particular on how to rebuild their homes, not just financial but as well as on the materials. We provided some of the materials for to rebuild their homes. Likewise, for their children, we gave assistance for their children to go back to school.
More than 2 years after Typhoon Sendong, IMCC continued to help the survivors.
Amo gyung gikuan gini siguro nga katong first class ng bugas gyud makaon.
IMCC came up with a project named 6114, and this is in partnership with the Diocese of Iligan and mainly with the SELAVIP organization from Spain. Its objective is to improve the sanitation.
Actually, there are three major objectives of the project. Number one is to address the problem on water sanitation and hygiene. by constructing 24 units of concrete 3-chamber septic vaults among 78 household families in the two Deus Caritas Villages of Upper Tominobo and Upper Dalipuga, Iligan City. So actually, there are 2 project sites that are involved in the project. And of course, the second objective would be to provide safe water access among 78 household families by constructing and installing Biosand Filters as household water treatment facilities. And of course, the third objective of the project is to organize and mobilize these communities, these people's organizations, as water service providers, thus increasing their income and becoming stewards of water resources in their respective communities. So actually, these are the 3 main objectives of the project.
With the involvement of other local NGO like the Lihok Iligan, the participation of the 4th Infantry Mechanized Battalion and community associations, the project officially started with a formal signing of partnership agreement with the President of Iligan Medical Center College, the Bishop of the Catholic Diocese of Iligan, and 2 representatives from the beneficiary communities as signatories. Stakeholders meeting was then conducted. This was attended by representatives from the Diocese of Iligan, the Mechanized Battalion of the Philippine Army, heads of barangays Dalipuga and Upper Tominobo, a representative from the Office of the City Mayor, representatives from the beneficiary communities, and personnel of the Research and Community Extension of IMCC. Pledges of support were likewise expressed by the stakeholders during the meeting. Series of community consultations and project orientation soon followed, expressing the different roles and responsibilities of the stakeholders and the need for the beneficiaries to render sweat equity as their counterpart for the project. Land preparation and excavation activities for the sanitary septic tanks started in April 2014, but done intermittently due to tropical storms which hit Mindanao, including Iligan City.
We do not really have problems in terms of providing construction materials and encouraging people to participate, but we do have problems in terms of weather conditions.
Meantime, project orientation and community consultations are conducted regularly to solicit support from project stakeholders and encourage community participation. By the time the soil is dry enough and ready for excavation work, earth-moving activities continue with the beneficiaries rendering their sweat equity for the project. Women, children, and even elderly involve themselves in the project. To ensure success of the project, Jose Dennis Mancia, the project coordinator, is closely monitoring its implementation.
Actually, in terms of management, Iligan Medical Center College is tasked to oversee and manage the whole operation of the project, while the Diocese of Iligan is to manage locally, the beneficiaries of the project. The Diocese of Iligan sees to it that community members provide sweat equity in the actual construction of the septic vaults, and of course with
When beneficiaries completed the excavation activities as their counterpart for the project, masonry works followed, which were undertaken by a contractor who hired most of his paid workers from the families of the beneficiaries as masons, carpenters, or laborers. As per original plan, 22 septic vaults are to be constructed to benefit 67 families. However, IMCC was able to construct 24 septic tanks for the 76 families, with a total of 468 individuals as direct beneficiaries of the project.
Concrete septic tank now. The dimension is 3 meters ang iyang length by 1.5 meters ang iyang width. Ang iyang deep is 1.6 meters. And this is estimated to last even more than 20 years.
Ako nagpasalamat ko kung dako niabot ni nga project. Kay katabang
daghang salamat sa paghatag ining hinabang nga septic tank.
Also, a total of 50 units of Biosand Filters were constructed and distributed to the beneficiaries. The fabrication of the remaining 26 was put on hold due to the perceived needs to construct first a water reservoir in Deus Caritas Village in Dalipuga and a deep well water pump in Upper Tominobo. The Biosand filter will serve as a simple and cheap water treatment facility at the household level to ensure safe drinking water supply for the beneficiaries in the two villages. This will address the problem against the spread of diarrhea and other diseases from unsafe water supply.
kami nagpasalamat kami dako na naabot ng project na gihatan sa medical college na mga.
During its fiesta celebration in honor of the patron saint in Deus Caritas Village in Upper Tominobo, a formal turnover of septic tanks to the beneficiaries was made through a simple ceremony.
So today is a very special day for the beneficiaries of the project 6114 of SELAVIP.
Daghang kayong salamat sa ayuda nga gipanghatag. Isip pasalamat sa pag-blessing sa amuang turnover sa among septic tank. Daghang kayong salamat sa nag-sponsor sa Iligan Medical Center College, sa SELAVIP ug sa lihok Iligan. Daghang kayong salamat ug more blessing to come.
To further enliven their celebration, IMCC also gave rice and pork meat to each household beneficiary.
Mabuhay! Caritas Village sa Upper Tominobo!
Pagbasa gikan sa Santos nga Ebanghelyo sumala ni San Juan.
Similarly, on June 14, 2014 in Deus Caritas Village in Dalipuga, during their fiesta celebration in honor of their patron saint, a simple turnover of the project to the beneficiaries was made.
Deus Caritas Village din sa Kalubihon, usaman sa mga recipient, no, nga site para sa duha ka project. Unang una kaning septic tank, ug ingon man kaning Biosand filter.
Now, kaning manggo siya nga project.
A banquet, or locally called salo-salo, was prepared by Iligan Medical Center College. The food were shared by all project beneficiaries, guests, the members of the religious groups, the officers, faculty, and staff of Iligan Medical Center College, and the rest of the community. Apart from the food prepared for the banquet, IMCC also gave rice and pork meat for each household beneficiary for their fiesta celebration. The project was successfully turned over to the beneficiaries in the two villages through joyful celebrations.
So thank you very much, SELAVIP, for the for being generous to the beneficiaries, especially among survivors and victims of Typhoon Sendong. And we are hoping that the support that you have given us will continue, because there are still families in this community that also need to have a concrete septic tank, and for them to acquire a Biosand Filter. Thank you very much.
Thank you, SELAVIP.
Project 6114 ended, but obviously leave remarkable impacts to the lives of the people in the communities. The project did not only improve the sanitation and hygiene and prevent the spread of diseases in the areas, it also built and enhanced friendship and fostered camaraderie among project stakeholders. It also showcased that multi-stakeholder approach in implementing a development project bears good results. Changing the lives of typhoon survivors from severe devastation towards empowerment is a quantum challenge. But with the synergy of the kind gesture of the funding partner, the SELAVIP, the enthusiasm of Iligan Medical Center College family, the passion of the Diocese of Iligan and the missionary sisters of the Lady of the Triumph of the Cross, the active support of other NGO like Lihok Iligan, the participation of the communities and all stakeholders proved to be an effective approach to effect positive changes in the communities.